Hello, Steve White, 89. I'm starting to get sucked back into Real Housewives. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the franchise. I appreciate that it's given women some great jobs and a lot of success after a certain age, because Hollywood normally doesn't allow women to do that, but these women from the show are usually all older and they're rich and fabulous and they get a lot of attention and they're very successful, and it's good. It's a good, in some ways it's empowering for women, but it also plays on stereotypes, so it's also not, but it is. So I was always on the fence about it. Now, I only started watching it because an ex of mine was interested in it because, and a friend of his gave him season 1 of Real Housewives on like a USB. And I thought, okay, fine, let's watch one episode before we go to bed. And we put it on, and oh my God, Cara Richards is in it. She was the girl in Halloween. She was little Lindsay. I'm like, oh my God. So then I got sucked in because I want to know what happened to her, because it's Lindsay. Because I'm obsessed with Halloween and horror movies. So I started watching it because of that. And I watched some of New York because I kind of liked just seeing what life was like in New York, because I always wanted to live in New York when I was younger and that. So yeah, I kind of got sucked into Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I followed that one all the way through. And then Lisa Rinna came on. I always loved Lisa Rinna. She oddly reminds me of one of my sisters. Her family story is oddly similar to some elements. I was like, wow, okay. But also the story about her mother, who was nearly the first victim of a serial killer that I've been researching. It's all very fascinating. But the shows get really repetitive because they are scripted and they just have these contrived, dramatic, oh, someone said this, I'm upset about it. Oh, we have to get upset about it. Oh, we need to talk about it to get over it and move forward. And then we bring it up the next week and everyone gets upset about it again because they just can't think of anything much more interesting to argue about. They ignore a lot of real life issues, which are far more interesting, unfortunately. So I've gotten a bit tired of it. I'd fallen behind. I hadn't watched it for a couple of years. And then we had a couple of things happen. The first thing was they introduced some people of colour to the very, very formerly white shows, because they had their Black Housewives show with the Atlanta cast, but they'd kept things pretty segregated. And I think that was actually a good thing, because what happened when they had a black housewife on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is it just started to look really racist, because you can't have a bunch of rich white women attacking a black lady and not have overtones of racism coming into it, or just the depiction, the way people see it, perceive it. And the ratings are going down fast, apparently. And I don't think this is just because people have gotten tired of the formula. It's also because once they started to bring race into it, and race not just by default, but actually being the subject of a lot of arguments, and coming into literally the arguments where, was it Giselle? No, I'm getting my names mixed up. Damn it. Oops, I should have written this down. I shouldn't remember a name. I'm terrible. I'm not a journalist. This is my vlog. They got into identity politics and racism and systematic racism and everything, and those things are just not glamorous to talk about. People don't want that. These shows are their escapism. They watch a bunch of rich bitches argue about nonsense. That's what the show is. That's their brand. And now they've brought real life issues into it. Oh no, that was not a smart move. I don't know what Andy was thinking. I don't know if he's in charge, but whoever's in charge, they thought maybe, I know what they were thinking. They thought, we'll bring someone in, that'll bring race in, it'll become controversial, and we'll get some real controversy happening. Instead, I think it's just turned people off, and apparently now they're struggling with the ratings. Now they're spinning to try and get things working and happening. Now the other thing that's happened is Erika Jayne. Her husband allegedly embezzled about $101 million from people. He's a lawyer and he apparently won a lot of cases and kept the settlements, allegedly, supposedly. And allegedly, supposedly, she knew all about it, and she's been spending all these people's money for years, because she's pretty vulgar with her money. She will have a glam squad for $40,000 a day or a week or something, just follow her around to make her look like a movie star when she's really a nobody. Her career is based on her husband paying for her production, basically, because he's rich, and her getting gigs in venues, because if they pay a basic appearance fee, she'll show up with a production they couldn't afford to pay for, frankly. And she's only remotely famous because she appeared on Real Housewives. No one knew who she was before then. and she ended up appearing in Chicago. And all this was because her rich husband, who she was for, basically paid for it all. But he paid for it, apparently, allegedly, supposedly, for other people's money. So yeah, now it's become interesting, is my whole point, because the race issues make it interesting to see how the people handle it and how it actually presents itself in their society, and also how this is a real life issue. She could be in serious trouble for this money, for the fraud, for the theft, and the way she's carrying on, the way she's portraying it, the way they're portraying it, the way everyone's trashing her and calling her out and just pouncing on her because, you know, she's the weak animal. So the pack is going to pounce and eat. So it's fascinating to watch, and I'm going to keep watching. I've been watching a lot of shows talking about it, and I'm eventually going to get up to date with it all, and probably going to be commenting on the last few weeks, because they've just gotten to the end of the season, and now they're just doing the reunion shows, and they're doing a 4-part reunion show, which is huge. Normally they used to do, I think they started off with 1 reunion show, then it became 2 reunion shows, then it became 3, and now they're doing like 4, because they're really trying to milk this real life controversy, and just like they're trying to milk the other sort of controversies of the whole racism and everything. So I just am finding it interesting again. I want to talk about it because I'm finding it interesting, but I have to go do some research. So I watched about 5 videos the other night from someone, Up and Adam, is it, or someone? This guy who was in or did work at Pulse or something, or Pump or whatever, for Lisa Vanderpump, and he knows some people on the show, so he does like his own sort of gossip show on that. I watched sort of. Of course, my camera died right as I was just about to finish that video. But yeah, I was watching a bunch of YouTube videos by a guy called Up and Adam, and I'm kind of catching up on some of the gossip behind the scenes, which is more interesting now than the show itself. And once I've got that sorted out, I might start to follow the end of the show and probably the next season, because they're just about to go into filming the next season, so they're going to have a lot of gossip and stuff coming out, and yeah. But I just wanted to properly finish my video. I almost just let it end where it ended, but it was a bit rough. I'm just going to tack this on. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Bye.